We're in this kind of weird post-truth world.
Yes.
Where it feels like anyone's willing to lie. I mean, we can't get into it now, but we've had a big conversation this morning about a current situation. And there's a way out of it by lying, and there's a way where you probably don't get out of it by telling the truth. And it's like, if the lie is told, it protects you, but the individual that we're talking about, both economically and on a credibility-wise, but telling the truth risks credibility and risks themselves economically. But there's a butterfly effect from them telling the lie. And the conclusion we come to, the important thing to do is tell the truth, even if it affects you. And how many people are willing to do that these days?
In a postmodern world, Peter, sometimes the most honest thing you can do is lie.
Oh, God.
It's just true, man.
Yeah.
Like I've said this before. Like there are, I'll give you a good example. Many years ago, we were accused by people in Ethereum of sending death threats. And we got a call from CoinDesk and asked us if we sent death threats. And our answer was absolutely. We've been sending death threats for ages. And what happens is the entire article then is about whether we were telling the truth about whether we sent death threats or not. And the conclusion is they don't think that we actually sent death threats.
Okay, so you called a bluff.
Yeah, but like that's the thing. Like in a world of post-truth, it doesn't matter what you say. It matters what is true. I mean, like there has to be at some level like actual truth at the basis of this stuff. You know, if you were to like look at a color and you look at it and 1 million out of 1 million people will say that color is red, and then someone makes you say that like puts a gun to your head and says you have to say that this color is yellow. Like you can be like, yeah, the color is yellow, absolutely, and it doesn't make it yellow. But still red.
Back to coercion.
It's still red. Like it doesn't matter what you actually think of it. The color is still red.
So what do we do then? I feel like disengaging from it all.
Yeah, I think that's one option. You can disengage, or you can believe strongly in the notion that post-truth doesn't work, and just do what you're doing and realize that everybody else knows that too. There's a small subset of people that believe that truth doesn't exist. Truth is a construct. And that comes out of this notion of this postmodernist notion of deconstruction. Everything can be deconstructed down to its like fundamental elements and nothing matters. You can believe that that's how the world is. It doesn't work in the long run. It works in the short run. It works for like gains and power. But there's things that you can know about the world. And this is, I think, like actually sort of the fundamental philosophy of Bitcoin maximalism. I believe Bitcoin is going to win. I believe Bitcoin has already won. It doesn't matter to me what kind of development happens in Ethereum or what kind of dApps people download to their phone or whether DeFi exists or not. It doesn't matter because in the long run, it will fail, in my opinion. And it doesn't matter what happens. I don't really fight it. Like, you're like, oh, Ethereum's up to $3,000. It's great. Like, okay, great. Won't be there forever.
I think, do you know what would be useful? And it's for people to be able to recognize what is a fact, what is an opinion, and what is an interpretation, because they are different things. So, for example, you could take it back to climate. There are things that are fact. Like, you can record global Earth surface temperatures.
Right.
And you can record them. That is a fact. You can interpret that in different ways. And you can have an opinion on what that is. And I think there's a lot of people getting lost in opinions and interpretations being fact. And I think if people realize what is interpretation, what is an opinion, and where there is room for error, we can get to a place where we can have a better discussion around complicated subjects.
Well, in a discussion, generally, like you want to try, I mean, this is how it used to be. This is not how we do it now.
Yeah.
But it used to be that you'd get to premises, right? You'd ask somebody like, why do you think that? Like, go back, like let's the deconstruction of the opinion. Like this is fundamentally where things are correct. Like you should deconstruct where a person came from. This was the Socratic method. The Socratic method exists for me to walk you through how I got to a place, right? And then for you to deconstruct what I did and tell me where I got it wrong. I found that people are very suspicious of this sort of Socratic like walkthrough, where you walk people through things. They'd be like, oh, you're trying to get me to agree with you. I was like, no, I'm just trying to get you to understand where my thinking is. And that's dead. Nobody does that anymore. They don't develop, like, they don't go back to an understanding of the premise. Like, again, the pandemic is a great example. It's just at the end, your opinion is wrong because my facts, which I've pulled from 12 papers, are correct. Like, no, your facts are wrong because my facts, which I pulled from 12 papers, are correct. And it's two sides yelling at each other and trying to negate the other one, rather than being like, well, actually, like, if we go back to like the base premise and try to understand what actually matters, maybe the conclusion is not X or Y. Maybe the conclusion is like C. And you guys have no framework for understanding C because you focused on X and Y, and that's where the battle is being fought, on X and Y. Meanwhile, I'm over here in the matrix, and I'm just kind of like walking past you with the actual answer, fully knowing that I have the actual answer, and looking at you two fighting and just being like, that's weird. Like, why are you guys fighting about that?
The Matrix doesn't exist.
No, it doesn't. You're right, it doesn't.